Welcome to Sakrete Pro Tips, Dry Stack Wall Fundamentals. So let's start with why dry stack. Masonry walls are extremely versatile structures used for all sorts of projects. But masonry itself is a highly specialized skill. For those of us who want to build with masonry but don't want to mess around with mortar or not comfortable with it, or even yet we don't have budget to hire the mason, there is a solution. It's called dry stack masonry. Dry stack walls replace mortar with the high strength masonry coating such as this Sakrete surface bonding cement. And what it does is it holds the block together. Today we're going to show you how to combine block and surface bonding cement to create a dry stack wall. Now it's time to start the wall. So we're going to map out the wall. Then we're going to mark our placement points. We're going to mix up a small amount of surface bonding cement and actually use that as a leveling bed to set the blocks into and on top of. And then we're going to lay the corners and work to the center. So let's lay some block. So we've already got the material. You can use mortar mix if you want, but since we're on a mortarless job, I'm just going to use the same materials, the surface bonding cement itself. So we set our first corner. Now this is the reason it's so important to lay out your block plan before you start. Because if this was a long wall, I got to know where the corners are going to be. And then I'm just going to lay the centerpiece, because you always start in the corners and work into the middle. My bottom course is laid. I'm going to check the faces for flushness. You can use a level, a long masonry level, or you can use block and strings to make sure everything's lined up. After that, check the tops for level, and just a quick rundown with your level to do that. So everything's good here. I've got a level base as far as front, back, and the tops are all the same. It's time to start building the wall. Now that we've got the wall up, I go ahead and start the wetting process. You got to soak the block wall. We'll talk more about that in a second. So a lot goes into a wall's planning before you even start. There's some engineering details you're going to want to cover with your local building departments, your code officials, and you're probably may even going to involve a structural engineer since it's a wall. You're going to need to decide before you start the size of the block you're going to use, the shape, the configuration, the width of the footing, and then you're going to get into what is the requirements for the spacing of the rebar between the cells and the core fill. Don't forget you need to fill the cells with the rebar solid to make it perform structurally as you wish. So all of this needs to happen as your plan before you just start. You don't just start slinging block everywhere. If you follow the guidelines, the bottom line is you're going to be happy with the end wall and it will perform as desired. Now let's get to mixing. Always remember to wear your mask when you're mixing dry materials. So remember SSD, SSD, SSD. This wall, while we were mixing, it's absorbed a lot of water. You got to do it fresh again. Now, I'm going to start using this material immediately. But I want to say one thing. To make a dry stack wall perform, you're going to need to have between 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch thick in material. You've got to do all sides. So that's 4 sides, 2 front, 1 back, and the top. So it's actually 5 planes you got to apply to. All right, before you start, one other thing to notice is when you have a gap in your dry stack wall that's 1/4 of an inch wide, go ahead and repair it first with putting some surface bonding cement in it and then proceed with the coating. We're going to apply from the bottom, working to the top, and I'll use some arcing motions because we're not painting a wall, we're coating a wall. So the arcing helps blend the materials layer by layer as you build them up with your trowel strokes. The tools you're going to use besides the bucket, you need a stucco trowel. See how wide this trowel is? It's designed for stucco. This is a wall parging material trowel. The second thing is it's helpful to have a bucket scoop of some type. Something to get the material out and onto your trowel. All right, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and start applying material. You really put it on there. Use your trowel as a hawk. And just spread it on. See how creamy it is? Like peanut butter. Now the material dries fast, so keep everything worked. You'll also notice you can really see the structural fibers in this material. That's to help hold it all together. So we finished coating. To review, we've coated the front and back, the sides, and the top because this is a dry stack wall application. So you can see, at this case, we have a nice smooth finish, and this could be it. You can stop the project here because we parged on between 1/4 and 1/8. We were right there in the middle as far as smoothing out the materials and keeping them pretty thick. Now, if you were wanting to do an existing block wall and you just wanted to make it look like a nice smooth white wall, understand that's a 2-coater. Because in that scenario, we're doing the first coat to get all the little imperfections created by the mortar joints covered. And then the next day we come back and do a finish coat or a decorative coat. When we're doing dry stack, the same rules apply. We can stop at 1, but if we want to put like a skip trowel or fish scale, any decorative finish, it does require letting this sit overnight, come back the next day, and begin the finish process. So it's not necessary for structural integrity, it's purely for decorative purposes. But you can't put it the same day because it's going to sag and fall off. So I think you can see this is a very versatile material, easy to use, and we encourage you to get out there and get your hands in it to go build a wall.